I just have one question for all of you. Y'all need a pilot? It's been 9 years since Mel Gibson's last directed film, Hacksaw Ridge, and how does he follow it up? A film so bafflingly stupid and ludicrously presented that even Tommy Wiseau would blush at how bad it is. Like, the story is just so bland and surface level with absolutely no nuance or substance that you are nowhere near enveloped or invested in what's happening on screen. You're just too busy being distracted by the bad acting, bad dialogue, bad green screen, bad bald cap. Seriously, worst bald cap I've seen in any movie. I'm sorry, what? This wasn't a bald cap? Mark Wahlberg literally shaved that part of his head every day on set while filming this movie? Eric, I told you, my buddy I went with, we were watching the movie, and when the wig comes off, I looked at him, I'm like, dude, I don't know if that's a bald cap. He insisted it was a bald cap, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I feel like I can see the little buds of his hair where he would have shaved it. I think he might have shaved it. But then there was another scene where I'm like, I don't know. Okay, maybe it is a bald cap because that looks pretty bad. And according to Wikipedia, the most reliable source of information on the planet, it said that apparently when they filmed this movie in 2023, Mark Wahlberg was shaving part of his head every day on set. Our boy Marky Mark is rocking the George Costanza cut. And it's just so weird because his character is supposed to have like a male pattern baldness thing. But if he was deliberately shaving his head every day, then it looks like you were just deliberately shaving your head. It doesn't look like your character has male pattern baldness. It looks like he's just forcing a Colin mockery. I don't get it. Why would you do that? Then it looks even dumber. So, okay, if it was a bald cap, I could understand why it would look a little clunky, but why you would go for that decision because you want your character to look like that. Granted, I don't know why you even need to do that. Is it really that necessary that the dude has a bald patch on his head and he's got the, like the on the sides look? Like, just why even bother? But again, I feel like in certain scenes, it looks like he's wearing a bald cap. There's just too much going on right here with like the forehead lines at certain points, like especially some of the closer shots. It just looks so fake. And I feel like there were moments where I could see the bumps of where his hair would be underneath the bald cap. So I don't know, maybe he just has a weird looking head. I have a theory. This film was delayed. They supposedly delayed it because they didn't want to be in competition with Smile 2 releasing on October 18th, 2024. So they bumped it to January 25. Reasonable, whatever. But is it possible that at some point they needed to do a round of reshoots? I mean, every movie does reshoots, and that those moments, Mark Wahlberg didn't want to shave his head for those, so they just put a bald cap on him for those brief scenes. That's what I think happened. I don't have anything to confirm that, but at the same time, I don't have anything to deny it either. So Michelle Dockery's not an actress that I'm familiar with in any capacity, but man, like if this is her first impression for you, like it was for me, not a great one. Every line of dialogue she delivers just feels so robotic with absolutely no emotion put into it whatsoever. Like, I don't know if it was bad directing. Granted, she's got some pretty crap dialogue. I mean, everyone does. There's just some really weird lines that these people have to deliver, but she especially just, there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. And even in the most intense moments, it's nowhere near what her delivery should be. Topher Grace plays what I can only describe as a 40-year-old version of Eric Foreman. He's just constantly making cowardly comments and then shrieking in terror whenever something happens. He just feels like a weenie the whole time, which, I mean, is kind of on par for some of his past work as well.
Grow up, Eric. They're G.I. Joes.
Yeah, G.I. Joes with Kung Fu grip. Help me! Somebody! I want you to kill Peter Parker.
But that said, there are some funny moments with his character, just some of the lines that he delivers, and there's just some brief moments of levity that I can actually appreciate, and I honestly think he was unironically the most enjoyable part of the film. I mean, granted, this isn't like a stellar performance on his part either or anything, but I'm just saying, for a character who just can't keep his mouth shut, he's certainly a lot more tolerable than, say, James McAvoy's character in Wanted.
Who Please drive faster.
Please be
Please
quiet.
drive faster.
Quiet.
Please
Please be
understand
quiet.
that I care about my life.
I love James McAvoy as an actor, but man, did I frickin' hate Wanted. But Michelle Dockery and Topher Grace are the main focus of the film, which is not what the poster or the trailer or the first act of this film would lead you to believe. Now, you see, Mark Wahlberg might be plastered all over the place, but guess what? He is handcuffed this entire film. And I don't mean just physically handcuffed. I mean he is also narratively handcuffed. Because when you give Mark Wahlberg a role that he can finally get nuts in and finally give us something different, you know, he's not just playing himself as per usual or doing his typical Mark Wahlberg-isms. No, he's finally playing a psycho again for once. And what do? Just keep him in the back. I mean, what else are you going to do with him, right? Let him act? Let him showcase his talent? I mean, you get like sprinkles of that here and there, but when you get it, man, it is rough. Okay. That was a bad pun. So there's actually a scene in the movie where he's, like beating up Michelle Dockery's character, and he says something around the lines of like, "Oh, you like it rough, rough, rough," like a dog. And now okay. Yeah, but there's one scene where Topher Grace and Michelle Dockery are, so they're flying the plane, right? They've handled him. He's chained up or handcuffed back like this in the back of the plane where he is for like 90% of the movie, and they're trying to figure out how to fly the plane. And Michelle Dockery is like, she's manning it or whatever and trying to figure it out. And they almost crash into a mountain at one point. And this is basically how the scene plays out. Whoa! 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 Oh, man. Oh, thank you. Okay, that was a bit of an exaggeration. She wasn't wearing a Top Gun shirt, but she literally, she grabs the shades and puts them on after like, oh my gosh, that was so stupid. So many jokes about pissing and crapping one's pants. Like, I don't know where all this childish toilet humor came from, but it's run amok in this movie, and I don't understand why. Okay, but like, this is being marketed as a thriller. How does it work as a thriller? How is the tension? What tension? I seriously could not take this movie seriously. My buddy and I were laughing the whole time. There were a bunch of other people in the crowd, mostly older folks. Maybe they just like Mark Wahlberg because he did Deepwater Horizon, The Patriots Day, and Lone Survivor. Maybe they're just like hoping to get another one of those from him, and that's what drew them in. Meanwhile, my buddy and I, we saw the trailer, we're like, Mark Wahlberg, bald, like, okay, this is going to be hilarious. And that, sure enough, yeah, it was absolutely freaking funny. It was laughably bad. Not quite as embarrassing or incompetent as something like, Kraven the Hunter was last year, but it's pretty so bad that it's good levels of territory. But in terms of like trying to make this believable, I just don't even know what the argument for it is. I mean, for God's sake, you have a witness being transferred who needs to testify to bring down some criminal empire or whatever, and he's being escorted by one lone US Marshal in some rickety contraption plane being flown by a pilot they didn't even vet all that well, clearly. And after she's discovered that this isn't the right guy and she's subdued the perp, she forgets that she has a sat phone she can use to call for help? Are you freaking kidding me? There's also a bunch of subplots that this film just has on in the background to essentially pad the runtime. I can't understand why they would do it otherwise. But you get stuff like, oh no, Topher Grace's mom is in danger and the people he's going to testify against might kill her. We never see her. We never even know her name. This is just background noise. Like, what was even the point of bringing it up? Other than creating like artificial tension, it has no purpose. There's a mole leaking intel to the criminals about this witness transfer, and we need to uncover who it is. All of it is done over the phone. We do not see the other side of the conversations related to that. We're trapped on a plane for 90 minutes. Uh-oh, Michelle Dockery doesn't know how to fly the plane. How are we going to get out of this one? Well, thankfully, she's able to communicate with this guy called Hassan, who not only is able to help her navigate and fly the plane to wherever she needs to go, but also is able to ask her out in the process, and she isn't put off by this at all. She's in a super high stakes stressful situation, trying to protect an asset while also maintaining a very potential threat, and this dude is asking her out and she's not freaking out and losing it at him over the phone. She's actually into it. Who wrote this? That said, this film at least flies by. Oh man, there's another bad pun. At 90 minutes, it's moving at an insanely brisk pace. The opening scene alone already lets you know how quick this movie's gonna move, because right away, Topher Grace's character gets caught, cuffed, and is already made a deal to set this plot in motion. We've done all that in like 3 minutes. This dude is already making plea bargains before he was read his Miranda rights. There's also a moose at the beginning of this that Topher Grace sees outside of his motel room window, and not only does it look insanely fake, but pretty sure moose are a lot bigger than that, at least taller than that. Whatever. Man, I've gone on way too long about this. So this movie is absolute crap, but it's at least fun bad. You know, total clunker, but you're guaranteed to be laughing the whole time. And so for a score out of 10, guess I'm gonna have to go with a 2. So Flight Risk, were you even bothering to go see this in the theater? If you were, I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments down below, and let me know what you thought about the movie, good or bad or otherwise. If you're waiting till streaming because you don't want to go to the theater for this, I totally don't blame you, because this is this is not a great film. This is not something that you need to see in the theater, but if it winds up on Paramount Plus or Netflix or whatever, one of these streaming services one of these days, and you come across it, it's not a bad way to kill 90 minutes if you're just looking to laugh with some friends of yours. But hey, if you like this review, then please like this video, subscribe if you want more videos like this in your feed, click the notification bell so you know when I'm posting them, and also I have 4 links in the description that'll take you to multiple other social media platforms that I have where I post reviews that don't always make it onto this channel. But until next time, guys, God be with you, and take care.